My name is James Carey. I'm the Director of Social Services for Elizabethport Presbyterian Center, and I'm also the Chairman of the Elizabeth Branch of the People's Organization for Progress. I want to thank you for coming here. You didn't think that was robbery, for giving up your Saturday to be with us to talk about this ongoing issue that's becoming what I heard someone say in the subway, a phenomenon. Hopefully, before you leave today, we will provide you the necessary tools that you need to properly address this issue on bullying. I want to thank, first of all, I want to thank Councilman Carlos Torres for deciding to hold this symposium, because in the wake of, I don't know if you were familiar with the incident that happened at Linden Middle School. That was my little cousin who was being bullied, and he took his life. So hopefully today that we will address this situation and provide you with the necessary tools that you need to properly address this situation. But before I call the convener of this program, I want to call my good friend Vito Tropiano, who's the community police in the city of Elizabeth.
How's everybody doing? Does everybody speak English? Yeah. All right. If anybody could tell. Everybody speak English and Jose. I just have a couple quick things anyway. I'm just here in support of the councilman and James Carey and Mr. Rodriguez. If anybody has any issues, and I hear we have one already, we will act on it today, and I'll give you some good advice on how to handle this. So don't be, we're here, the Elizabeth Police is in support of you, and nobody here should get bullied at any level. All right, so I'm not going anywhere. I'll turn it over to Mr. Rodriguez, and I'll be over here after the speech.
Sí, es el detective Tropiano, que trabaja para la policía de Elizabeth. Si tienen algunas preguntas o algo sobre la ley, él está aquí para contestar cualquier pregunta o si quieres cualquier cosa. Es muy bueno aquí, es muy conocido en la comunidad y trabaja bien con nosotros. Él va a estar aquí por un ratito si tienen alguna pregunta. Si no, también tiene una carta que si quieres te lo podría dar y le podías llamar y siempre contesta el teléfono, no se preocupe.
And I just want you to know, at some point in this program, we're not going to be just preaching to the choir, telling you things that you already know. You come here because you want answers and want to know how to properly address this situation. So we're going to have a Q&A as part of this symposium. So without further ado, I'm going to call up the man who's responsible for this, my good friend, he's my brother. He's also your first ward councilman, Carlos Torres.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank you guys again for coming out this afternoon. This is important to me. I was born and raised down here. My grandmother, my aunt, my uncles, my kids go to school here. So this issue is very important to me. It's important that we work together with the schools, the city and the schools together. Back then, when I grew up, it was a little different. You know, you handle the bully. My father used to say, someone bullies you, you pop them right in the nose. But now today with certain technology and social media, it's just so much different. It's such bigger, on a bigger scale, basically, you know, with the Facebook and the Instagram. And the side effects of bullying is just tremendous on an upper scale when you talk about they can't hold a job or they can't hold a relationship because the effects of bullying. You know, back then it was just your classroom knew. Now the whole scope, the school knows. So again, this is very important to me. Again, I want to thank Jose from the Board of Ed for being here. He's going to take the lead on this. This is something I feel very strongly about. I know we have some parents here with some real issues, so we're going to answer all your questions. Detective Vito here, I want to thank Detective Vito, and I also want to thank James for being here today. So again, any question you have, we're going to answer today. Okay, we're not paper pushers. We don't do things behind the desk. We're actually out in the field, and we take care of your problems. So thank you again, and without further ado, I'm going to introduce Jose Rodriguez.
Thank you. How many of you just speak Spanish? ¿Quién solo entiende español? ¿Solo español? Los dos? Solo español. Understand a little bit of English? All right, so I'm going to try to translate throughout the thing? Okay, great. So I'll try to keep it, I'll try to throw in some Spanish words, things like that. All right, so my name again is Jose Rodriguez. Thanks again to, that's our bell for people coming to that. So, don't worry about your cell phones. They don't work down here, so you don't even have to turn them on. So we're good with that. So again, my name is Jose Rodriguez. I'm recently I've been elected to the Elizabeth Board of Education, but I'm also a teacher. I'm a special education teacher. I'm profesor de educación especial for 10 years now. And so I've seen a lot of bullying, sadly, in our schools. And obviously I went to school, and things like that. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself also. How you doing? I went to Rutgers University, graduated from there. I was born and raised here in Elizabeth, sorry. My family has been here for 40 years. We're over on Jackson Avenue, and we've been there pretty much the whole time. So I went to Rutgers University, graduated from there. I got a master's degree in education administration, and now I'm going back for a second master's in special education. So I just want to let you know my background so that you know a little bit about me and where I'm coming from also. Right? So again, like I said, I'm on the Board of Ed recently, so I get to see the effects of bullying in our district and our schools, right, from that side. All right, so first thing, we have a lot of information today. Tenemos mucha información hoy. So I have 4 packets, or we have made 4 packets in the back. All right. I know some of you haven't gotten it, but we have 4 packets. If you guys want, you can get up and grab some. We have packets. We have a folder. We have some paper, some pens that the councilman has provided also. Just feel free to get up and grab some because, go ahead, you can do that now. Because we're going to have a PowerPoint presentation, so you can make little notes on it. Okay? Even if you never use it again, pick it up. I already killed the trees, right? So you might as well use it, right? There's also a signs if your child has been bullied. Right? There's 4 packets. And the handout. Yeah, grab a pen, make notes, take notes as much as you need. So like James Carey had said, this is not just going to be me talking to you. How you doing? Just grab some packets here, grab a folder, grab some paper, grab a pen. We have some more pens too, stuff like that. Come give a kiss. So like Mr. Carey said, all right, this is going to be a back and forth. I want you to stop me if you have a question. Okay, again, I'm Jose, you can call me Jose, hey, whatever. Sometimes my parents call me by my brother's name, I respond to that, which is Ed. So, whatever you like, okay? Stop me. If you don't have any questions, si no tienen preguntas, it's because I thoroughly confused you. Okay, so then I'm going to ask you guys questions also. All right, so it's a back and forth with that. Yes, where is it? All right, está bien? Everyone has the packets who wants them. You can get up throughout the presentation, get something to drink. Don't worry, you won't offend me or don't feel like you can't get up or anything like that, okay? Like I said, I'm a teacher. I'm just here. Okay, so we're going to start the presentation. First off, I do want to also tell you that I know bullying is a very emotional topic, right? Es muy emocional. If it happened to your child or to someone you know, someone close to your family might have committed suicide because of it. I mean, this is serious. It's not just, something that we're used to when we grew up, some of the parents. I mean, this is some serious stuff. People die because of this, right? Or emotionally scarred for the rest of their lives because of this. It's serious. And sorry to take that tone so early, but it's something that you need to understand that it's something that's very, very important. Right? Something that's new that even my students taught me is bullying when we were around, when nosotros éramos niños, when we were kids. Bullying was, you went to school, you got bullied, but when you went home, you were safe. You were home, you were safe with your parents, you were okay. You were like, oh, okay, good. You might not want to go to school, but it was what it was. Today, with Facebook, with Instagram, with Twitter, bullying is 24/7. And you can't tell your kid, oh, just get off of Facebook, get off of Twitter, don't have that. No, that's part of their lives. That's like saying for us, don't go out and play with your friends. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. You can't tell them, oh, don't go on, don't worry about it. It's part of who they are. So nowadays, bullying has become 24/7. There's no way to get away from it. And that's what's different. Okay? There's no safe place for some of these children. And that's how they see it. All right? So it's not what we were used to at all. Okay? The other thing is, how many of your kids have the cell phones that can get onto the internet? Right? Pretty much everyone has a cell phone that has the internet. You know how scary the internet can be, right? Do your children have any controls? Do you limit their browsers? Do you limit any kind of can they go on to sites that you know that you shouldn't be seeing? Can they get on there? Yeah, they can, right? A lot of people don't go to their kids' cell phones or computers and limit their usage. It's the same internet that you see, they see. Right? But they're 13, 12, 11, 8, 7. You shouldn't be seeing those. Eventually they'll see it, but when they're older, right? And they can deal with it. That's huge, right? So when you go home, take a look. You may not, I don't know how to do it. Look through the phone. I don't know either, but you can look, right? Somewhere in the settings, you can do that, right? Parent settings. If not, go to your cell phone provider, right, where you bought the phone, and ask. They'll help you. Not that bad, right? But do that right away. Okay? All right, so let's get into the presentation. Again, if you have any questions, any issues, I'm going to have to be working 2 presentations here, so good thing I have 2 hands. Okay. We are on, it says Part 1, the law. Part 1, the law. Okay. We're going to go to page Página 3, page 3. I did double-sided, so I didn't use so much paper. So, page 3, 1, 2, and 3, and 4 slides to each. Okay, so the big thing about bullying is that it can only happen in schools. Okay, Detective Tropiano was here. He can't deal with bullying. This law is only for schools. Right? You can't go to the police department and say, my kid's being bullied. They can't do anything about it. It has nothing to do with him. You can only see him is if they threaten your kid, if there's a civil rights issue, right, that there's something happened because of their race, their sex, their an assault, all right? But just picking on your kid, that you cannot go to the police, right? It's something that is only for schools. So that's the biggest thing, too, all right? One of the things. This law is for schools. Esta ley es solo para las escuelas, no para la policía. So we'll go real quick, and I'm going to go through this quick because it's a lot of information, and I know most of you want to ask questions and get some information, right? I mean, you don't want to sit here and have me talk to you. You want to talk back and we can go through that. So that's what this forum really is about. If you might have gone to other forums or other bullying events, they'll just talk to you, right? And then you just go, okay, that's good. And it's important. But that's why you can take these forms. You can read through them, okay, in your spare time. We don't have any spare time, but you can make a priority and try to go through them, all right? Guys, if you want, thanks for coming. You can grab some papers here. There's 4 presentations. There's a folder, just so that you have them, all right? Okay, so in 2011, so the law is only 3 years old. They called this an Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights. If you see something going crazy, I'm sorry, it's because I'm walking around, right? Again, it's only for school. That's the biggest thing that we can go through, okay? It's only for schools. All right, what is the definition? What is bullying? My child got bullied at school. Well, did it go under this criteria? And this is important enough, so I'm going to be reading. HIB means harassment, intimidation, and bullying. So you're going to see that throughout the whole presentation, right? HIB, HIB, HIB. Harassment, intimidation, bullying. They're kind of the same type of things, but that's what they call them. Right? It means any gesture, look how specific this gets. Any gesture, any written, verbal, physical act, or any electronic communication, meaning online, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Vine, whether it be a single incident or a series of incidents that perceived as being motivated by any actual or perceived characteristic, such as race, color, religion, ancestry, national origin, gender. Okay, this is all civil rights type of stuff. Sexual orientation, right? They call you gay, lesbian, things like that. Gender identity, nowadays with transgender issues also, that's big. And expression, or mental, physical, or sensory disability, this is still civil rights, okay, by any of the distinguishing characteristics. The biggest thing that's not covered under civil rights is if they call you fat, skinny, too tall, too short, okay? This is what is also covered in this law. Takes place on school. Oh, so you mean my kid can't get bullied at home? Or I'm like, yeah. It takes place on school property, any school-sponsored event, field trip, or off school grounds as provided by this state law. All right, so how is it that my child can get suspended for something that he didn't do in school? If it affects the other kid, the other child, if it affects them in school, or they bring it up in school, now the school can suspend or can discipline your child. Right? So if I go to your house and bully you all day long, the school can't do anything until that child has some kind of issue with going to school. I'm afraid to go to school because at home he comes and bullies me, or she comes and bullies me. Okay, now the school can get involved. All right? But it has to cause some kind of issue at school. All right, HIB definition, you can keep reading through. Okay, definitions of on property or school grounds. You can keep look through. What is the school districts? Remember, again, this is the law by the school, right? What can the school district do? You can read through all this stuff here, the law. Right? Cyberbullying, this is probably the biggest, this is the newest thing that we did not see when we were kids. Cyberbullying. The kids that are here, how many of you feel, even the little ones too, how many feel that you've been bullied in your life? Online? Oh, good, thank you. One. All right, let me show you a statistic, right? I'll show you a statistic a little bit later, right? Not on here. Online is the new thing that is really the worrisome thing for schools. Because these kids don't have a break. There's no, sometimes they feel there's no safe place for them. Okay. What is your role as a parent in the development of the Board of Education, the board that I sit on with 8 other people, the Board of Education HIV policy? Parents, in addition to other community members, students, school staff, and administrators, must be represented in developing the HIV. Have you ever been asked about HIV by your school's district? Have you ever been asked to be involved in that? Some might have. They must take input. We're going to get into later where. Where can I find a copy? Yep, if you go to the school's website, eps.org, right, Elizabeth Public Schools, you will find a link to the HIV policy. Absolutely, it is there. Okay? It says no bully zone right in the middle of the front page. So you can find it. It's not hard to find. We do a good job with that, right? Each school district is required to distribute the policy each year. You get a packet at home. You get a packet at home with a bunch of stuff. It's in there, the HIV policy. You gotta read that. Got it. So, every school in this district, there are 39 schools. Every single school has an anti-bullying specialist. Every single school. Where your son, your daughter, I want to let you know that there's an anti-bullying specialist in every school. This is Freeholder Granados, also from Union County.
How you doing?
Okay, so as you can see, it's a major issue where we have a lot of elected officials from the county, the city, the Board of Education, police department. All right, so any kind of questions, they're here to help you. Thank you for coming. So every school has an anti-bullying specialist. That means that the first time that something happens, you're going to go see this person. All right, you can talk to your principal. I would like to talk to the anti-bullying specialist. Quiero hablar con el anti-bullying specialist. Then we have one person that oversees all 39 of those. They're called the anti-bullying coordinator. She does speak Spanish. She's bilingual. There's a school safety team in each school. Right? So you have resources at your school. You have to use them. Say.
Sometimes these resources, like in our case, okay,
I'm listening.
mom doesn't speak any English. First of all, they didn't send the child to he had 8 stitches on his forehead. They didn't send him to the hospital. Mom had to take him there herself. When she was in the hospital, the cop that took care of her actually told her she couldn't do anything about it. He said, this is a minor, oh, you can't do anything about it. Okay, so if they're Spanish speaking, they don't know any better. They expect the authority to tell them what to do. And that's not what happened. And now, she went back because on a police report, both the children got assaulted. They only put one child. They were both in the hospital. She went to get the report amended, and they got really nasty with her and sent her home.
At the school?
No, at the police department. Now, when they walk in with someone that speaks Spanish, English, like myself, then it's a different, but when it's just strictly Spanish, they push you away, they don't want to hear it.
So that, like you do, have her go with someone who speaks English. Absolutely, to get the help. Yeah. That kind of issue is more of a societal issue that would take a lot longer to fix. So in the meantime, the quickest fix, bring somebody with you that can translate. Absolutely.
But even the school, the teachers there told her that they see the same kid that assaulted, one of the main one that assaulted them, acting out. He jumps on top of tables and punches kids for no reason. If they're seeing this in the school, the teachers, the counselors, why aren't they doing anything about it before it gets to this point?
But do you know, does the kid get suspended? Do you know if the kid gets?
He was back in school within like 3 days.
Yeah, there's a constitutional right by state law to be educated. So to have someone expelled takes an enormous amount of issues to happen. That kid, I can promise you, is getting disciplined, is getting detention, is getting suspended. The school is doing something about it. But at the end of the day, if the parents at home don't do something about it, the kid has all the right in the world to come back. And we have all the right in the world, if that child does something to another child, to kick him back out, to suspend them, to discipline and things like that. I can promise you that child is getting disciplined. Is it working? Is it working? It has to work at home too. The school can only do so much. They remove the child, or they give them detention and things like that. And eventually they work a case where the child will leave, but you have to go through the proper check. In the meantime, do people suffer? Yeah, but that child also has rights. As much as you made it, that child is also a victim of something else that's going on at home.
I just want to add one comment in reference to your police department comment, that when you're Spanish, you go there, you know, they don't help you as well. That's why we have, like, you know, police officers like Vito Trapiano, who are actually community liaisons, who's somebody who I know gives a cell phone number to everybody he meets. And if you ever have a problem like that, definitely always feel free to reach out to Vito. And he has business cards with his cell phone number on it. You give him a call, he'll make sure you get to the right person. He's somebody who's always involved in the community, and will make sure you get to the right person you need to speak with. Okay? I started to interrupt.
No, he gets angry when you don't call him.
Yeah, I actually get some cards out already. I know some people came in late. Who came in late? There we go.
Also, I have a question.
Yes.
And so, at what point, as a parent, I know that the student has a right to their education, but what right does your child have who's being bullied at some point to safety and education? My son's also being bullied in school 1. And, yeah, of course it is. And he's been attacked on numerous occasions. I get the report back. It's not bullying, it's an incident. The children, because it's multiple children that are doing things to him, it's not the same kid over and over again. It's different kids that are doing things. And no, they're not doing it because he's black. They're not doing it because he's gay. They're not doing it because he's fat. That's not the reason. It's just because of whatever's going on in their lives, but it's affecting his life. You know, my kid's in therapy. You know, his therapist said, get him out of that building. This is detrimental to all the progress that we've made with this child who suffers from anxiety and depression. He's on medication. He's working towards improving in his life. They said request a transfer. I requested it on the grounds that he's being bullied. But the Board of Education says it doesn't meet this definition. So no, the kid's not being bullied, so you can't get it. You know, at some point, what do you do as a parent? It doesn't meet this definition, but because, based on what happened when I was a kid, if somebody punches you in your face every day, that person's a bully. But it doesn't meet this newfangled definition of bullying.
So,
you know?
Yeah, in the past, this law did not replace other laws. So, this is a misconception in the community that I'm glad you brought it up. Okay, because it is not bullying doesn't mean that the child's not getting disciplined. That's what you have to, right? So they'll tell me, a lot of people tell me, oh, but he's being bullied, right? Why doesn't oh, it came back and it's not bullying. So what the heck is it, or what's going on, and blah 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 blah. That child, and if I don't, I'm empathizing with you.
Right.
So
No, I understand. No.
Okay. They're being disciplined. But if it does not meet the criteria, okay, maybe that child is getting bullied because he's smaller, things like that. But if it's not, if there's no evidence of it, it's not bullying. It doesn't mean, because it's not bullying, doesn't mean that the attacker is not getting disciplined. They are getting disciplined.
So, pardon us for seizing the day because we have a board member here. So then what's our approach then? If we can't say, get our kid out of here based on bullying, what do we say? Because again, what do we do if it's not bullying that gets us the help? Because what flag do we wave? We can't wave the bullying flag to get the help.
Then you tell them, what are you doing to that child so that this is not happening? Just because it's the bullying, it's just more severe consequence. It's almost like hate crimes, right? Hate crime didn't replace crime. Doesn't mean, it's just now it's a more severe sentence. So he might have, the bullier or the attacker might have done this, and that merits, let's just say, 2-day suspension. Okay. But now if they find out that they did this, but it was bullying, he or she will get the 2-day suspension, plus maybe character education and so on and so forth. So it's more of a discipline. And if the victim is a victim of some kind of issue, they will get or whatever they would get. If it's a victim of bullying, they will get more. So it's not that you get less if it's bullying. It's just that, if it's not bullying, you don't get less. You get the same services as before. It's just that this law has added more to it. So what can you do in that case? You go to the, what's going on with that child? Why are they, is there any discipline? Yes, there's discipline. You're not entitled to know what kind of discipline to that child, because it's not your child. But in that case, you have my number, and we can talk.
Can I request meetings with all the parents of kids who do things?
You can, but they have to okay it.
the parents have to agree to meet.
Right, absolutely.
They're gonna deny because we applied 3 times and they say they don't want one-on-one between parents because they don't want to fight between families.
That's true, right,
Right?
Okay.
but I agree.
I mean, I understand that, but it's just unclear because you want.
Because
you
it's
would like-
happened before.
Like you said, I mean, back in the days, it used to be punches on the nose, but nowadays you would like to talk to the dad and say, listen, can you keep your child down from bothering my son? And they don't want that because they will get back to you.
All right, so let's continue. I'm not going to
Okay.
keep these questions. Let me just do me a favor, write them down. I'm not going to write them down so you don't forget them.
Okay.
I promise. Even if we have to cut, yeah, even if we cut this short, we'll cut it short to ask.
I'll be brief, Jose, and I apologize for interrupting. I will be somewhat remiss if I didn't acknowledge my good friend Pat Jelly from the New Jersey Education Organizing Committee. We've been on the front line together. We've been the vanguard down at the State Department of Education fighting for issues, and this is one of the issues that we have been addressing. So I want to acknowledge Pat Jelly. I know she had a question, so.
Are you ready for a question, or you prefer to go on?
Yeah.
I,
Just, you don't mind?
no, you want to go on?
Yeah, just let me do these couple slides. I'm actually going to cut the presentation short because I know it's 1 o'clock, and so I'll start taking questions about 1:15, 1:20. So if you don't mind, let's try to run through at least what I feel is important. I mean, there's a lot more important things. I'm not trying to belittle everything else. It's just for the sake of time. I know you guys came here more to ask and answer than me speak to you. So, real quick, school responsibilities. All right. This page 21. Okay. Something happens at school. Let's say there's a fight, right? Or a teacher or somebody has to report an HIB, a harassment, intimidation, and bullying. It has to be reported. It can't just be, oh, these 2 kids fought. Oh no, but they fought, and I heard one kid say a racial slur in the reason why they were fighting. Okay. This is just an example. Or they called the person tall or too short or whatever. The principal receives the HIB report from somebody, a teacher, a student, a parent, that you can call, right, as a parent. Principal notifies parents of suspected student offenders, right? The parent then supposed to tell the parents that your son or daughter did such and such a thing, and something's going to happen. It doesn't have to be a phone call, it can be a letter home, right? Notification comes in many ways. Principal receives written report from the staff who first reported. So someone who told, if a staff member told, they receive a report. The anti-bullying specialist, right, there's one per school, investigates report. Within 1 day, investigates. Right, so I tell this person, they investigate right away. It must be completed within 10 days, within reason. Right? If they need more 10 days, they can, but they must then put that in a report. 10 days, 10 school days. It's 2 weeks. Right? You have to watch it, right? 10 school days. Right? Investigation results are reported to the superintendent in 10 days. And remember, again, a report doesn't have to be a phone call, right? Usually it's written. Sadly, there's not, teachers and administrators do not have the time. They wish they did. There's just not enough time in the day to be able to contact everyone by phone, sadly. All right, what does the school district do? Superintendent decides to take other actions based on the investigation report, right? There is a recommendation by that ABS, the anti-bullying specialist, there's a recommendation, oh, we should do this, we should do that. Superintendent usually agrees. Superintendent reports results to the board, to us, every meeting, once a month, we get all the reports. We don't get names, we get, AL did this to BW, and what happened. Superintendent provides parents with the information within 5 days after the meeting. After our meeting, you're supposed to get something. Parent may request, this is a big one. If you disagree with what happened, if you disagree with the discipline, if you disagree with anything, you as a parent have the ability to appeal to the Board of Education. You have 10 days. I also want to recognize Councilwoman at Large, Patricia Perkins Augusti. Also, thank you for coming. So again, if you have any questions, also, she can help you, right? So the biggest thing is you don't like what you have. This is what I wanted to get to, what's really important. You can request a hearing within 2 weeks, right? 10 days. The Board of Ed, we then say yes or no, we either agree with you or we say no. What happened, the report, that's fine. You still have, if you do not like that, you can then appeal to the county superintendent. You don't like what the county superintendent does, you do the Commissioner of Education. If you don't like what the Commissioner of Education says, then you have the Office of Civil Rights, OCR, a federal agency. And then, I think from there, if it is a civil rights issue, you can go to the Supreme Court. And then Supreme Court closes it off, okay? But you have, if you don't like what you're getting, there are avenues to keep pushing, okay? To keep pushing. I think we did that one. Okay, all right? So I would, for the sake of time, page 23. Okay, page 23 is your pathway if you have issues. Is what you can do with the school, what your rights are as parents. Okay? So this presentation, the law, is very important because it gives you the ability, right, or gives you the pathway to make complaints on bullying, harassment, and intimidation. We have a lot more information in these packets that I'd like for you to take home. I know we don't have time in our lives for much, right, to be added onto it. But if this is an issue or something of primary concern, read through it. Read through it, take a look. There's some questions even at the end, right, that you can quiz yourself on. Again, I'm sorry we don't have enough time, but I want to allow more time for question and answering. You have my card. It's spread out through it. If you want, we can give you a card. You can contact one of the elected officials that are here. There's always a way. And we're all here willing to listen. Okay? All right, so I'm not going to ask if there's any questions because I know you have questions. All right, so make sure you get these if you didn't have them. There's also signs that your child is being bullied. Please read through this. Even if you know your child's being bullied, even if you don't, give this to someone, hang it up on your refrigerator. Right? Give it to someone that you're not sure of, make copies, whatever you need to do. Okay? There's no need to keep the information to you. Knowledge is power. All right. So thanks. Sorry that this presentation was so short. I didn't expect to get through all four anyway. But I wanted to get through at least the law and the ability, what your rights were. All right?
At this time, we're going to open the floor and take Q&A because we know a lot of you came here because you have been dealing with this problem and you want to address it and you want proper recourse in addressing it. So we'll take any questions. Feel free to answer any of them.
Yes.
It was mentioned before, that the mother is taking her child, for therapy. If that doesn't occur, does the school provide therapy for the victim?
Yes.
Okay. Now, and you mentioned too, Jose, which is certainly part of the fact that the bully or the one who harasses should be disciplined. But he or she also needs help.
They get false.
Yeah, they get restorative help, that really helps.
Character education,
Yeah.
anti-bullying, absolutely, yes. Because they're victims also of something. Right. They lash out.
Yeah, if the parents and, in some cases the students, would want to come together, it just seems to me the parents or guardians have to be more part of the solution. And it's not just informing them, they have to be a greater part. So that's not included in the policy. So I mean, we would recommend, and we'll do that.
Correct.
Change.
And I know in the past they have, and it's caused issues. So, and for a school to then be held liable for helping to cause more issues is a scary thing for schools, and that's a major reason. I don't know, but I can see that'd be a major reason why schools would stop. Because I know for sure, look, for every law, there was a lot of things that were happening, right? For every law, so if there's a bullying law, sadly, a lot of children, a lot of people had to die and be hurt for a law to come into place. So for policy changes like that, where you want to talk to the parents and they say, no, we don't facilitate that, meaning we don't help that out because something bad has happened. I'm sure. Because, yeah, absolutely, it makes sense. I mean, that's what you want to do, is you want to talk, you want to have, sit down with parents and be able to talk. Some parents don't want to talk.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they don't want to talk, that's one thing, but if they're willing, both are.
Usually when you request, someone will ask, and if they don't want to talk, they'll say no, request is, denied.
For the last school year, there was a little girl in my son's class who was making accusations that he was doing all these things to her. Some of them sounded possible, others I just didn't believe. But, again, because there was accusations that he was attacking a child, I took him in to sit with a therapist. I want to give my kids help for whatever situation might be occurring. If he's attacking somebody for no reason, there's a problem there. So I took him in, sit with somebody. The therapist said to me, I just can't imagine that this is happening. I've had conversations with him. I can't see it, but let's keep the process going. Let's put him in some anger management therapy. Maybe something's happening and he's getting angry and he's taking the anger out on her. We put him in anger management therapy. Once the therapy started, he was doing well. I said to the school, if it's at all possible, because I know that this little girl is going home and she's telling her parents what's happening. And they must be thinking, what awful little boy this is. Let me sit with the family and let me just say, I apologize for what's happening, but here are the things that we're doing to make a difference. The school said, we have not informed her parents about what has happened. I couldn't believe it. How have you not told her parents that he's pulled her hair, he's cut her hair, he's thrown her homework in the garbage, he's dumped her book bag in the toilet, all these things that you told me he's done to her? How do you not tell her parents?
Has anyone told the school?
Well, this happened in school. It happened in school. They called me from the school to tell me this happened. And when I asked to meet with her parents, they said that, well, it would be she who would have had to tell her parents this.
No, you gotta see if there's a report.
Well, I got a letter, and then at the end of June, when school was over, I received some random letter that said that there was an incident that was determined not to be bullying.
Right. Doesn't mean that.
Right, but no. Right now, to this day, I have no idea what this incident was involving my son that was determined not to be bullying. No one ever called me to tell me that they thought my son was bullied, or that because it wasn't related to the little girl. It wasn't related to her. I went and found out it wasn't related to this little girl. Then no one has been able to tell me what this incident was that was determined not to be bullying. Was it an incident?
Do you remember who the letter was from?
It was from Eunice.
Okay, I
Yeah.
got one of those too.
You don't know what it's
The
about?
investigation was closed, but you
Yeah.
never spoke to my.
Yeah, the investigation was closed.
Never even spoke to my.
Determined not to have been bullied. I don't know if it was that they thought someone bullied my son or that they thought he bullied somebody. I just know it was closed and there was no bullying.
Did you ask for the report?
But yeah, I said, what is this about? And I was told that it was closed and there wasn't any bullying.
We have
How do I get-
recent letters by 2 kids being bullied, my son. We went to try to illustrate this scenario with the principal. And every case, one time the lady hit my son with a chair in his leg. Second time, the same girl tried to put him down the stairs from the second or third floor, put him down the stairs. He hit himself with the railing. And third time, this little girl kicked him in between the legs in the gym. Finally, Friday last week, this little girl told my son that she was gonna crawl over the window and kill himself over the weekend. Monday morning, I told my son, every time this happened, my son, I'm like, hey son, don't pay attention, just turn yourself around, don't look at him, don't talk to him, just keep walking up to your classroom, you do your work, and don't deal. Monday, this little girl, playing on gym, we already separate them from class. Couple teachers, they know that this girl and my son cannot be together. We pretty much told my son he's not allowed to talk to this little girl. So the gym teacher put him to play together. And my son is like, no, I cannot play with her. And the teacher is like, well, do you think I would like to play with all of them? You have to play with who I told you to do your work. So they put them together, they do whatever they do in the gym. At the end of the class, this little girl goes and pulls his ear. So my son is crying again, and my oldest son, he got a note over Facebook saying, tomorrow we're gonna jump your brother on the bus. So, same scenario happened Friday, they're gonna kill him over the weekend, and nothing happened, so I told my son, do not tell anything to his
But
brother.
now you can call the police because it's a
Now-
threat on the
correct.
internet.
Yeah, so now,
Yeah.
Wednesday morning, this note came, Tuesday afternoon at 5 o'clock, Wednesday at 7:15 in the morning, we got a phone call from school that my kid is being jumped. So we showed up at school, and matter of fact, Monday morning I went to the school because my older son told me that I'm not doing anything for my son, and he was gonna take over. So my older son, somehow they get connected with this little kid over Facebook, and he's telling my son is telling the little kid, do not mess up with my brother because then I'm gonna have to take place. So my biggest issue is that my son is 14 years old. So my son is using bad words in his texts because he's already upset, and my kid is being bullied for almost every 2 or 3 days a week over the past month.
And these are little
So-
kids. If the school, Jose,
Correct.
if the school gets involved in this, it won't escalate to the point where 14-year-olds are feeling like they need to get involved in what's happening between elementary school kids.
But you have to tell
The problem-
the school.
Yeah.
Right, but what he's
I
saying is that
went
the
to the
school's
principal and I
aware.
told him, we gotta stop
But
this
that's
because
right.
this is going from
But like
middle
he said,
school
it
to high
happened,
school.
right, it happened over the weekend, the school didn't know, so the first time that the school contacted you is when the kid got, I'm just letting you know that a lot of people like to blame the schools, but then no one tells the school, or no one talks to the police.
in the classroom.
Right.
It started in the classroom.
But if someone does, okay, you may think, oh, how come no one saw it? You have to report it. In this case, that happened all in the weekend. Before school even started, this incident happened. No one told the school. No one told the school to look out. No one told the school, I understand it's the weekend and no one checks their emails and stuff like that.
I went on Monday and I told them they gotta help me.
But at
to clean it up.
7:15, that's before
That's what
school
I'm saying, Monday
started.
morning I
Right.
went and I talked to him.
Right.
Tuesday, that's when they got the message. Wednesday, he got jumped. Matter of fact, Monday I said, next time when I have to come in, because we go into school pretty much twice a week for the past month. And we are like, they doing this to my son, oh, we're gonna take care of it. But they doing this to my son, we're gonna take care of it. We have
The issue is this
we
bullying
have 3
But now-
investigations of bullying towards my son in the past
Right,
4
and
months.
we spoke,
Yes.
and so the school was able to start getting something done, and we spoke before about what was gonna happen. So, we're getting stuff done, right? It doesn't happen overnight, but the biggest thing is you have to keep advocating. And it's tough because you have to keep pushing. You push the school to do something, you have to read through this information. You have to speak to the anti-bullying coordinator. You have to speak to the principal. You have to ask, can I see the report? Can I do this? Can I do that?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, after
Yes.
Okay, so what's being done, because there is a process and it takes time, what is being done in the meanwhile to protect these kids? Because they're still going to school every single day, afraid, the parents are afraid and stressed, and I know because I've gone through it myself. How many children have to die and kill themselves? Like, something has to be done in the meanwhile to protect them while these investigations are being done. They need to be done a whole lot better, that's another issue. But what's being done in the meanwhile? They're still going to school, and if you keep them out of school, so a lot of these children, like my daughter, miss a lot of school, miss a lot of time in school. But then it looks like you're a neglectful parent, so it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. And, we're doing the best that we can because honestly, a lot of times school officials just are not addressing the issues properly. They're just not. That's what's going on, a lot of
And
it.
it-
Just real quick, did you contact the police?
Yeah, matter of fact, principal of the school pushed us to the side. They said, we gotta transfer my son from another school.
Thank God.
Do you have a detective on the case?
We have the detective on the case.
Who's the detective?
Gonzalez.
Oh, very good.
But he
Mike
told me,
Gonzalez?
but he told me, cut that off, just send your kid to another school and
Call me on Tuesday.
we'll definitely
Call
will.
me on Tuesday.
And
I'll talk to his
And then
boss.
my question is, how do we protect the children in the meanwhile, while they're still expected to go to school every day?
Right, and
And they're
investigate,
going through, and they're being, I can't even imagine how
Until the
difficult it is for a
investigation-
child to be in that situation.
right, but until the investigation is complete, if it's an investigation, right? If they saw them fighting, or if they saw something, then something is done immediately. If it's an investigation, you have to wait. Like any other police investigation, things like that, I can't suspend the kid before I know what happened.
Is it possible to have them displaced temporarily at least?
Until they find, if it's something, an emergency, absolutely, and they have done it. And I see the reports, they move a lot of
Okay, so how do you
kids.
have that done? What's the process for that?
You have to talk to them. Every case is different. I can't say that this is this and this. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're saying that the kid pointed a gun to the, they're gonna take that kid right away, right? And they're gonna take him out of school.
Not necessarily.
Yes. When it's
I mean,
something
something like
that,
that.
when it's
It
something
depends
that
on the
dangerous, yes,
school.
but you have to wait till the investigation is complete. Now, you're right, like in any police case, you're arrested and the person is set free until it's investigated. And painted.
If I may, maybe I can shed a little light into it. You have organizations that are out there that you may not be aware of. You have the Elizabeth LOC, who's led by Sammy Muhammad. You have Pat Jelly's organization, New Jersey Education Organizing Committee. You have the People's Organization for Progress. And there's nothing more than I take pleasure in going up there on a daily basis, exposing them for what they're not doing. So you could call me, and what we can do, like I said, we can't solve the problem, but what we can do is expose the issue to where so they will address it. Okay, I'll give you a perfect example. A teacher's name who's here, who I'm not going to disclose, okay? She's a 14-year educator in Elizabeth School District, a fine educator, according to my standards. Her name resonates in the community. Her daughter was being bullied, and they didn't do anything. Now, it's not like her daughter didn't attend a school in another school district. It was here, right here in Elizabeth. And the mother's a 14-year veteran. And they didn't do anything until we went up there and exposed them, and then the mother had some type of resolution. But sometimes it takes, the parents going to these local organizations. You may not necessarily want to go to this organization because the school board, it's basically they don't want. And Pat Jelly can attest to this. We have encountered this where they don't want to submit the report under violence and vandalism. I don't know why, but they do not want to submit violence and vandalism reports.
No, let me cut it. Just when he said the Board of Ed, there's 3 of us that recently just got elected onto the Board of Ed. Hold on. Let me say this appropriately. No, there's 3 of us. It's Charlene, Beth, Stan, Leon, and myself, Jose Rodriguez. No, it's okay because I ran with her. I ran 3 times. Charlene got in, and then this time Stan and I, and then we're going to continue. So there is a growing voice and effort to change what's going on. When we knocked on the doors, the 3 things that we talked about were violence. For me, it was special education because I'm a special ed teacher, right? And the inequity in our schools. And those 3 things is what we're looking to change. And I don't want to make a political speech, and there's going to be continued people who are running, and we're looking to change things. So I understand. I'm getting the brunt of a lot of frustration that's been going on through years, but that's okay because I want to hear it. It's okay for now. People are like, how do you do that? Well, I'm new, but I'd like to hear that because I'd like to help. And if you have to release your frustrations on me, and then I go back and I deal with it my way with those people, then it'll be dealt that way. You have our numbers. There are avenues. So I'm sorry if it sounded as I wasn't being empathetic to you or something, but there are certain avenues and there's certain hoops. I hate to say it, there's certain things that you all have to go through first before I personally. Now, there are other ways of doing it, absolutely. Call me. I'll tell you what you need to do. No problem. Call me all the time. I'm a heavy sleeper, so if you want to call me at 3 in the morning, if I wake up and pick up, call me. You won't believe me, you won't bother me. You won't bother me.
Actually, your presentation was helpful because I followed up to 7, 8, number 6, and I didn't know what 7 and 8 and the next one was. So I do appreciate that.
Oh, no.
Too, but it's a very.
I'm glad. Let it out. Like I said, it's very emotional because it affects your child.
Because you're afraid, literally, like every single day. You're worried all the time.
And if you're worried, would you imagine what they see?
Yeah, exactly.
Jose, another thing is that what happens at the school so rarely makes it to them.
Right.
That information. And when I decided that enough was enough of waking up in the morning and my son saying I don't want to go to school today, I sent the 10th email to Mr. Dunn. People said go to him because he's of and about the community. Yeah. I sent him the umpteenth email that said I'm not sending him. I challenge you to hold him back for missing 9 unexcused days. And this day that I don't bring him, and every other day that I don't bring him because he's afraid, will be at your office. That day, when I got there, the principal at school number 1, who had done reactive things and not proactive things to protect my child, was also there. They said they couldn't transfer him to another classroom away from the little boy who wrote him a note that had him up at night checking the locks because the little boy's note said, I'm going to come to your house at night and get a knife out of your drawer and stab you in your sleep. That little boy, he hadn't done anything about. He couldn't transfer him out of the classroom because all the classrooms were overcrowded. I said, I'll come to the school, I'll meet with the teachers, I'll pick the teacher I like, and then you can decide which kid you're going to move from that class and switch him with my son. Because I don't care about those crowded classrooms, I care about my baby. We were all there at the same time that day. And the next day when I went to school, they put my son in another classroom. You have to just tell them that your child is a priority over all the other kids in that school on that day. And when you do that and sit in their face and just make your child the priority over every other child in that school on those days, and then you'll get what you want. That's just, unfortunately, it's what you have to do. Because they have no idea what's happening at that school.
If you don't call me, I know there's, I'm not that dumb, I know there's things that are wrong. But if you don't call me, I don't know.
Right, they have no idea that stuff that severe, that a child wrote a note. I said, Arshad, why are you up? Go to sleep. He just kept getting out of bed and checking the locks on the door. And I'm thinking, my goodness, the kid already has anxiety now. He's developing OCD. Why is he checking locks? But he was afraid that the little boy was going to break in the house and get a knife and stab him in his sleep. Because the little boy wrote him a note that said that. And he showed the note to the teacher, who never filed this report. What is that about?
Hold on.
She had, it was been several incidents, but this one particular incident, there was a boy threatening her, and the teacher told my daughter, well, you should take him seriously because he's capable. And they told her, oh my God. School number 20.
732-816-4988, that's my number. Yeah, call. I'll help you. And we'll work together. Because it's not like you're going to call me and then, oh, it's over. No, we're going to work together. You get from one end and I'll go from the other and we'll see what we do.
Okay, so what's being done to make sure that the school officials are doing what they are supposed to be doing?
You have to tell them.
You could call,
harass them.
you could call Pat Jelly's organization, you could call my organization, you could call my brother Sammy Muhammad's organization, and we will be at the next school board meeting making sure that they do what's required.
But that's why this city has an elected Board of Education to help bridge. We're not, see everyone, well not everyone, but I'm just going to say, some people think that the Board of Ed is up here and that the only way to the Board of Ed is up this way. No, we're here, it's almost like we're in between. You have to flip that pyramid sideways. The school is here, the parents are here. You can go through us. You can go through multiple ways. I can draw it, but in my mind it's perfect, right? But here's the community, here's the schools. There are many ways to get to the schools. The Board of Ed is one of those ways. We're not at the top of a pyramid. That you have to, there's some things that you'll have to go through, but we can go top down and you can go bottom up, and we'll find a solution. I can't promise you the best fit solution for every situation. Absolutely not. Moving a child from school to school, not gonna lie to you, they're trying to not do that often because it causes a lot of issues, not just for the child, for the teachers. Could you imagine? We're trying to make sure that all teachers are teaching the same thing across all the schools. We're trying. That'll never happen, but we're trying because every teacher, every classroom is different. So that if something like this happens and I have to move, or we have a community that moves a lot, can't afford this or move, whatever. We have a lot of movement in our community. And so one of the big things that we did was try to make sure that everyone's teaching the same thing at the same time in case something like this happens. For the Board of Education, I also don't want to move children as this often. We'll do it, absolutely, and it's done when it's an emergency situations. There's somebody in here that was moved because it was an emergency situation. There's someone else that might be moved that's going to be, and we do it, but it's tough. It's tough for the families and tough for the kids. So it's not the end all be all. It works right away. We do get the bullies help. Believe me, we pay a lot of money for a character education program, right? And that's one thing I'm going to make sure that is it good? Or are we just throwing money out the window and these kids are sitting there like, having a good time, and they're learning, almost like a jail where they're learning how to bully. It's like a bullying academy. And that's one thing I'm going to check. But there are avenues. You have to. The squeaky wheel gets the water. If you don't use the tools that you have in your community, You know, I don't want to be mean, but they're there. People use them. This is why this is so important, because you find out what can you do, right? I think you got business cards from 5 different people or 5 different organizations. I feel bad, you know, I don't want to make a call. That's what we're there. I mean, I don't get paid, but, you know, I asked for it. I ran 3 times for this position. I mean, I really want it. Call me. Call me in the middle of the night. I'm not going to pick up. Leave me a message. I'll call you tomorrow. I know it sounds stupid. It sounds, he's funny, but do it.
I personally did call, I called Councilman Torres first, and then he referred me to Mr. Rodriguez, and we did talk about our situation, so I let that come on. Steer you in the right direction.
I'm just talking about, no, I hadn't.
Anybody else?
As a teacher, you know, I know what my obligations are as a teacher now. But I've never been in a situation where, you know, something happened and I didn't report it and now, you know, I'm in trouble or something. But what happens now in the situation that a teacher knows about what's going on and does not report it? Because what I was told was I'll never know if she was, you know, if she had consequences. Because this is like, in my case, she knew about this in September. And now in October and November, I'm in a whole big situation that I thought I never would be in. And this teacher is still there with, to me, no consequences.
Who did you talk to?
I spoke to the principal, I spoke to Dunn, I spoke to Eunice, I spoke to the superintendent, I've spoken to numerous people.
And you didn't get
No,
an
they
answer?
told me that I'm not entitled to that.
Oh, yeah, no, you won't be
Into
entitled.
that.
You won't be, no.
But how do we know, like, for example, I'm not only saving my daughter, but how do I know this teacher's not gonna turn her back on another student that needs a problem, has a
Want me
problem?
to tell you the truth? You'll never know.
And I think
Then
that's
let me
horrible.
know, and then I'll also try to, but yeah, you'll know, because that's something private. Right. Now you're asking for disciplinary records.
Go to Division of Youth and Family Services, because that's neglect.
Right, so, or let me know, and we'll deal with it that way, and I'll find out from you, and I can tell you, listen, something was done. But you'll never know, no, you'll never know, because now you're asking for private information. But what they should tell you is that something was done. Maybe they should have said, like, something was done, or we took it seriously, or something happened.
Well, they haven't even said that.
And another way, you need to begin, like, we do a lot of phone conversation, but we need to begin to write things down.
Well,
When there's an issue, and you don't have to say I have a problem, but you can say this, there's a concern exists, and this is the concern, so that when you begin to document it, you CC about 3 or 4 or 5 different people, and then it'll take on a life of its own. But word of mouth conversation.
Well, that's what
it
I've
doesn't
learned,
work.
like,
Yeah.
you know, to put everything in black and
Everybody
white,
black.
because later on it's, no, you never mentioned this, no, you
Right,
never
and they were
said
like,
this.
oh, did you tell me about that?
Exactly.
Or I forgot, what day was it? And, you know, so that comes into play. I mean, just to cut down on your frustrations as you begin to advocate, you know, for your children, just begin to document, like send emails or send a letter, and then it'll, believe me, it'll take care of itself. And because the phone conversations or one-on-one, going up there to meeting with them and talking to them, then you leave, okay, next parent or next situation, and they're not really, you know, honing in on your issue unless you take it serious by taking extra steps, either writing and or, you know, sending some type of email, so there's some type of written documentation about your situation.
I know there's more questions. I'm not going to dismiss you, yes.
Any kind of education to the teachers as far as bullying and how to handle it? Because like in their incident, the teacher actually admitted to us that she witnessed before they were assaulted, the boy hitting him in the back of the head and shoving him around, and she let them all go out together. And then she also mentioned the fact that, oh, you know, we can't be everywhere, was the exact word she used. She says that there's only 3 securities in school, 1 for 1,000+ kids.
And they turn their
So that's great.
They turn it, well, she actually said she's afraid and they retaliate against her.
In school 1, when there's an incident going on, the security turn their head. Because my daughter was just over there because her son, somebody was doing something to her son, my grandson as well. Joel went to because they told him, don't fight anybody in school, because people was hitting him and he like that. So they told him, they said, instead of you fighting, go to the teacher or go to the guidance counselor and report. So what he did is he went to the guidance counselor to let them know about this child standing up, shaking his behind in his face and saying things to him. While he was in the guidance counselor, they had a fire alarm. So that means everybody knew about the building. Don't you know that the called and told my daughter they were going to suspend my grandson because they didn't know where he was at. And she had to go over to the school, found out he was in the guidance office because he was trying to do what they asked him to do. Go tell somebody when somebody's doing something wrong too. And then when he does it, they ready to suspend him. He's been suspended so many times out of school one. School one is totally, if you ask me, it's totally ridiculous over there in school one. Children running up and down the hall. She said when she went there, children running up and down the hall, cussing like they grown. You know, the security standing, sitting there, turning their head like they didn't see these children. There is no control. I went to school. You went to school. When we was in school, you went down that hallway. You was quiet. You was orderly. But it's like now these teachers are not. It's like do whatever you want to do. And until something comes up where these teachers aren't afraid of these students, and these are little children, I'm talking about kids, and these teachers are afraid to actually get some type of control in the school. That's why there's bullying going on and the process is going on, and the kids are continuing doing it. Because back in our day, let some child had got up and said something out the way to a child. That child was disciplined in that room by that teacher, and she meant what she said. Not, I'll go call the mother or something like that. No. The teacher's going to have to learn or stand up and be teachers and stop letting these children run over them. The parents, majority of the parents that these kids are doing this from, they are doing what they mimic and see at home. Majority of their parents are bullies. And they're seeing bullying at home, so they feel it's all right to go out there and bully a child. So it's going to be a long way. It's going to be a hard fight. It's going to be an uphill battle. And it all starts when we even got a governor that goes around bullying people. So what do you expect?
No, it's hard, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know what your experience is as a teacher. In the district where you teach, but it's hard as a teacher when you have a situation where if you discipline a student gently and they go home and when they tell it, because you know how dramatic a child can be at 7 or 8, that when their parent comes in, they want to fight you. And in the same times, and in the times, you know, today, when a parent comes in and they want to fight you, who knows what that means? What an angry parent translates to today is different than what an angry parent translated to when my mother was upset about something. She did what I do, which is, you know, have a conversation, then write a letter, which for me means an email, right? Which is have a conversation, face to face, then send an email and a phone call, you know. That was the process of upset about something. That's what my process for upset about something is. But my next door neighbor's process for upset about something is go to the school and want to fight. So it's difficult for a teacher.
But that's what I'm saying.
Hold on.
I'm a teacher in the Elizabeth District. I teach at the high school level, and I'm here because I have a group of students that could actually make it big, but are trying to stand up and make a difference in this issue. They want to describe what they're doing. They're actually trying to put a project together where we're going around to Mabel G. homes, and they actually put on an assembly to advocate, spread awareness about this issue. Yeah. So it's not every kid in the school district or every teacher that's not doing something about it. So I'm there here today on a Saturday, taking it outside of the classroom, outside of school, trying to do something positive.
Ladies want to say?
We're part of a group in our school. It's called Skills USA. And we're trying to spread awareness to prevent bullying. So we've been doing a lot, and
last night, right?
Yeah. Someone who wrote a letter also to advocate bullying. We want to organize a walk to help spread awareness on bullying.
That's what they're here to do, actually, to try to help do that in the city.
I think if kids see, little kids, like my sons, my little ones are 7 and 8, that if they see teenagers standing up against bullying, that goes a long way for high school students that are willing to stand up and be an example.
There was a great response with the elementary kids, because they can relate to them. They're
Absolutely.
not so old or so out of the box that they didn't relate to them. And it was an excellent assembly where they, kids stood up, they spoke out, whereas they may not have been able to do that with an adult, and they actually took a pledge to help stop bullying and stand up for bullying. It was awesome.
I just want to say that most movements for peace and justice and equality have always started with our youth here in America, especially with African Americans. Right now we started the Women's History Month as of today, and women have always played a pivotal role in being the conscience of our society. So, Sister Houdin, I definitely applaud you in working with these young ladies, because this is what we need. I mean, they may be our future lawyers and doctors and elected officials that you're working with, and it starts at the level where you're working with them. So God bless you, and if you need any support, you have my support. I just want to say one other thing. I get millions of calls as an elected official regarding school board issues. And most times parents, they call when they're at their ends with. It's like, the school board officials, not saying the elected school board officials, but the administrators are not really answering the concerns of the parents or the students. Constantly I get calls about everything from bullying to transportation to over-excessive suspensions. Now, how can you suspend a 3, 4, 5-year-old? What can a kindergartner do that you're suspending them for 5 days and 2 weeks? I mean, I can't see what a kindergarten is doing in a classroom that the teacher and the vice principal and the principals of certain schools are allowing these kids to be suspended. So there's a lot of issues that are happening within our district because we're a very diverse district. We have first-time immigrants here in the city of Elizabeth, then you have those who've been here. So there's a lot of tradition and things that are just merging together, and sometimes the fallout of that is our children. Our children are at prey. But I'm glad to see that Commissioner Jose is here because it says that he cares. I'm glad to see that Councilman Carlos Torres took the time to develop this type of forum, and then working with our nonprofits, Elizabethport Presbyterian Center. I'm saying that it's going to take all of us. It's going to take all of us to really work at this issue so that our children are not at prey. I mean, I don't know how our hearts as adults can take hearing children dying and someone just committed suicide, 13, 14 years old, and children being beaten to a pulp and their head is being, I mean, I don't know how much longer we can, as adults, leaders, we have educators here, we have, local elected officials here, we have people here who care. So how much longer are we going to continue to allow things like this to happen in our community where we don't step up? The issue with Jamila, she was at her ends wits with her daughter. And I remember that we're calling people, we say, go talk to, the administrators, the assistant superintendent, oh, he's not, all these things. She was trying to do that so that her daughter would not be, basically mutilated, seriously mutilated. I mean, you have boys trying to beat up her, and then there was girls trying to beat up on the girl for no apparent reason. So, and you're talking about a process, okay, what happens to the process of the mind of the child who's being tortured? What about that? That's the process I'm concerned about. I'm not concerned about a process for the administrator who's going to send somebody over there, or they might. It depends on how hard the parent advocate. No, we're in the business of educating and nurturing children. This is what education is about. And so this is why I want to thank each and every parent who is here, because you made the right decision to really find out what's going on and how we can work at this collectively. So again, to Commissioner, to the councilman, to Elizabethport Press, thank you. And we need to have more of these type of forums. With the non-profit, we've been here, Pat, we've been here, you know, but it's good that we're not giving up. Mr. Carey, thank you for not giving up, because, you know, we have to continue to do this. We have to continue to do this. It's good and it's healthy, and we need to continue to do this. So, that's
I just want to add that when we have this type of forum again, that everyone that, you know, needs to get the word out and invite everyone, as many people as we possibly can, because that is going to make a difference. We need to have as many people as possible involved, just like Councilman.
Just piggyback on what you said, I agree with you. And it's one of the things when Councilman Torres said to me when what brought this on was this young lady, come here, Ariana, if you don't mind. This beautiful young lady right here, Ariana. She was being bullied, and I give her mother, Miss Anna, who's also educated like Miss Houdini. That's why I thank you guys for coming. More educators should have been here. I give her mother a lot of credit because she says, James, when she initially came to me, she said, James, I said, you know, you might get reactions. She said, I don't care, this is my daughter. And she hasn't wavered since, but Ariana was being bullied, but as a result of taking a stance and us going up there addressing the issue, it has stopped. And she's in another school and she's doing much better. So this will compel Councilman Torres heard what happened to her, and he said to me, he said, James, we have to do something. And I want to thank him also because I said to him, I said, Carlos, you sure? I just wanted to mention that,
So today was multifaceted in terms of, I thought this program was going to be more kind of two major ways. One is to release some of that anger, release some of that, because everybody, whether it's a child, whether it's an adult, we carry a lot of baggage, or what we like to call, I like to call a big balloon, and it's filled with a lot of emotion. And a lot of times you're not able to get that emotion out. So when you keep it in, things happen, stress, anxiety, depression, things like that happen. So this was a way of letting that out, of kind of blowing into that balloon, like let it out. And that was one of the major reasons that we need to have more of these types of forums. Number two was information. Okay? Because information is power, knowledge is power. We all know that. But how do you get that information? This is some of the information. I know it's very heavy. There's 4 packets. I think there's maybe 20 pages per packet. Take some time and read through it, or hold on to it. Keep it somewhere, right? We gave you folders, we gave you some papers, things like that. Keep it. And when you need it, open it up. Right? Take a look through it. You have our phone numbers. You have James' phone numbers. You have Councilman Torres' phone number. Ms. Pat will give you her phone number, I'm sure, if you ask for it. You know, mine is here. So we've given you another outlet to ask to let that out. All right? So hopefully we gave you some kind of equipment to be able to fight the fight. And you also have some outlets. You have some ability to let some people know your issues, and we can help you. Okay? We can't promise you that we're going to fix everything, but together we can fight for it. And we can promise that we can fight for it. Because like I told you, you know, I ran a couple times, things like that. I'm new at the beginning. I'm not here asking for anything. I'm here listening. Right? We're all here listening. It's not just me. We're here listening to you. So let us know what's going on.
Excuse me, Commissioner.
Yes.
One of the parents wanted to know that why can't you as a commissioner disseminate all this information throughout the school so that the children can take that information home, like put it in the hands of the children so that they can take it home and their parents, you know, can begin to understand that, you know, that you as a commissioner, you know, you're spearheading this because of the need, because now you have a collaboration working with the councilman of the First Ward, working with Elizabethport Presbyterian Center, And you know, you can take that initiative and just begin to put it into the hands of the children. Because unless we begin to get the information into the homes, into each and every home, you know, that's an avenue where we can have some more awareness. So that when you gentlemen call another symposium, you know, forum, that the parents will be aware of it.
Let me answer a question then.
Well, it's related, that's right.
Okay.
Because some school districts require that every fall, the policy with respect to HIB is made known to the parents, not just to the children, because sometimes it doesn't get home, right? Every, you know, and that's not a requirement, to my understanding here. And I think let's make it a policy that every parent is informed about the policy, and obviously the students as well too.
So, all right. So first to answer the question, right now, we don't have. I guess we don't have the votes to be able to change lots of things on the board, but there's many ways to
No,
change
but
it.
I'm sorry. Maybe I want to rephrase.
No, no,
I'm challenging you as the elected commissioner. I'm challenging you. It's a friendly challenge, by the way. I fight nice. No, but I'm challenging you to begin, when you go back and talk to your fellow commissioners, that we need to get this information out. This is an action item from this. Other than blowing our frustrations in this balloon, they do burst, I want you to know that. Okay. So beyond that, we would like for you, as the elected commissioner of the Elizabeth Board of Education, to begin to impact policy. Okay.
Let me give you the full
So
response.
even if you feel that you don't have the votes, but we would still like for you to begin to engage that conversation with your other commissioners. Because unless they know that there's a real need in the community, sometimes, you know, we as elected officials don't match until the community says there's a real need. So we're telling you, there's a real need. Because we don't want to hear about any more children dying needlessly over bullying. And it's serious, it's prevalent throughout all of America, and we want to begin to work on it here in Elizabeth. We think.
So what I was saying is, it's not, and my full response, it's not an excuse. I'm letting you know that.
No.
So at the moment, we don't have to vote, but there are other ways. For instance, like this symposium, like going out into the community. So there are many ways. Just because what I was trying to say, just because you hit a roadblock in one place, you don't stop. So this is one of the many activities. Now, all parents do get notified, and one of the way that our school district does the law is it's online. Okay? So it meets the requirement of the law online. Now, to me, and I've said it before, not everybody has access to online.
Can we put out a flyer at the school that tells the parents that it's online?
So that's something that the students could also work on. I know they have the Skills USA, that's one thing that they can take back. But yes, the parents, see, that's my issue, is that the minimum has been done to satisfy the law, and we need to do more. And so that's why I was trying to say, I'm not here making an excuse, oh, we don't have to do. It's not an excuse, it's just that there's many ways of doing these things.
Yesterday, my son was being bullied yesterday, and the school did not call me to tell me. He waited until 3:45, and he came out of school and said, Mom, I don't want to go to school on Monday. And I said, why? He said, because 2 kids over there were bullying him because his principal wanted to give him a coat because they thought he couldn't afford a coat. And he told the principal, my mom gave me a coat. And 2 kids were going to beat him up after school yesterday because they thought I could afford to get him a coat. And he waited for 3:45 to come home and tell me this. The school did not even call me and tell me that they held him in that school and they were going to beat him up over a coat because they thought he couldn't afford a coat. And I could afford a coat for my kids. So the school did not inform me yesterday. My son had to wait to come home to tell me at 3:45 that 2 kids were going to beat him up yesterday over a coat because they thought he couldn't afford a coat because He went to school yesterday with a sweater on. And the principal said to him, Joshua, why you don't have a coat? He said, because sometimes I want to wear one, sometimes I don't. The teacher sent him down to the principal. The principal said to him, Joshua, when you come to school on Monday, you have to have a coat. The teacher gave him a coat. They bullied him in school yesterday because they thought he didn't have a coat, and they never called me to tell me. They have my house number, they have my cell number, they never called me. He waited until 3:45 to get home. When he finally told me, Mommy, I had to run another way to get home because 2 kids were bullying me. He had to go on the other side of the school just to get home, and so they wouldn't catch him. So the school never informed me. They never did.
Caroline, what school does Joshua attend?
School 13.
If I may, I will address it for you, okay? Yeah. I promise you. You don't have to worry about it. I will address it for you, okay? I'm sorry.
Can I just iterate on schools not alerting parents? At 4:30 one afternoon, my daughter's phone rang. It was school 1 calling my daughter to tell my daughter they hadn't seen her son since 12:30 in the afternoon. 12:30. She said, well, if you haven't seen him since 12:30, why are you calling me now at 4:30? I told my daughter, I said, wait a minute, let me call down Miss O.C. program and see if he's at Miss O.C. He was at Miss O.C. program. We asked him, well, where you been all day? That nobody knew where you was at. He was helping a teacher. They were bringing in some shirts or something into the building, and one of the teachers had asked him and a couple of more kids to help them with these shirts. Yeah. This teacher that had him help never went to his teacher and told him that where he was at. He's figuring he's doing okay helping out another teacher. But the thing that got me was, if you didn't see this child since 12:30 in the afternoon, why did you wait all the way till 4:30 in the evening to call and say, we have not seen him since 12:30? This is an issue. And before then, my grandson was able to walk out of school 1 right through the front doors. Right through the front door. We're supposed to have them alarms, whatever on it. Right out. Nobody knew he was gone. There's serious issues going on.
Is there a way to have a meeting, like, about a specific school? Can the board convene a meeting to address issues at a specific school? No, that's not what we're here about. We're kind of wind down though.
Yeah, you can let us know and we can try to correct those issues. There's, to me, I have, this is my opinion, there is a perceived, it seems like to me that they favor some schools over others.
Hello.
And that's something that I hate. To use, I would love to use more inappropriate language, but I just hate. It's something that, I know it doesn't help you personally right now, but it's something that I've studied and have some ideas, and it's something that I would love to convene and open. A lot of what I see is that in the past, the school board has liked to not, it's like, oh my God, let's just keep a lid on it, because if we open it up, it's going to explode, and we don't want to deal with the explosion. I might be dumb, but I want to open it up and see what's going on. And a lot of people, I've seen in community block watch meetings, I know that the councilman has, another councilman has, and like Vito Tropiano, those police, they would get yelled at. They took the frustration of the entire community, and they would just take it and take it, but things changed. Little by little, those frustrations are aired. You're right, sometimes it's way too slow. Now, anyway, the short answer to yours is let me know and see what we can do. I don't know. I don't think it's ever been done in the past, but it doesn't mean we can't do it.
If the community called a meeting, obviously, you, Stan, and Charlene would show up. If we call them, we know. If we convene a meeting, right? And we invite people, if we invite the board, we know 3 people are definitely going to show up.
Why don't you do this?
Well, probably 4, because one of them wants to be our council.
Well,
all right. But we have one that we like. But 4 will show up. But, you think anybody else will. And we could convene that meeting right? The people in this room,
He
who have
would
kids
come.
at school would come, and we could kind of get to what some of the issues are. Issues like the one you're talking about. Issues like my kids, I've mentioned 1,000 times already today, go to therapy. They have to leave the school at 3 o'clock on Mondays. On random Mondays, I go in and I get them and I don't sign them out, just to see what happens. I don't sign them out, you know?
March 20th is our next Board of Education meeting. Around, it starts at 7, but by the time you really, and we're talking about public, you have to get there early. I don't like this policy, but to sign in, to speak. Okay, get there early, bring a large contingent of people and speak. It's the only way, I mean, right now, at all the Board of Ed meetings, you get 2, 3 people.
Yeah.
And now that I'm on the board, I don't speak anymore. It's even less. But you have to make noise, absolutely. You have a meeting like that, it's a lot harder for them to say no.
Matter of fact, things are needed, obviously, it sounds like it, that is needed to be addressed. We actually targeted that school first, but we didn't get a response. So
This is my son right here. That was being bullied.
You do that, I'll come the other way. Councilman will come the other way, James will come through the other way. We gotta do something. Is it right? Is it the way it should be done? No, but but let's not argue about what's right or wrong in terms of how things should be done. Let's just do it the way that we know works. I'm making a lot of noise.
Okay, I'm in.
Any more questions? Well, I just want to thank everyone for coming out. This has been very educational. I want to continue to work with the Board of Education. Jose Rodriguez, I want to thank you so much. Elizabeth Press, James Carey, thank you. Ms. Penny Houdin, thank you for coming today. I want to continue to do this. The more that we get educated is the only way that we're going to solve this problem. Again, this issue is getting bigger and bigger every year. My family lives here, my kids go to school here, so this is very important to me. So you guys have our cards. I'm going to work on, me, Jose, and James are going to work on the parents who actually need help. And I also want to thank Patricia Perkins Augusti for coming here today. So if you guys have no more questions, there's food in the back if you want to take some snacks to go, some drinks. You want to say something, Pat?
Oh, no.
James, you want to say something before we leave?
No, I just want to thank, thank everyone for attending. Like I said, you didn't think it was robbery to come out here and be educated. And I hope that the information that we provided you, in particular the anti-bullying bill of rights, this is the parents' recourse to addressing this situation. If it occurred with your child, you can put it on your refrigerator, and then mostly, we'd like for you to we're going to continue having these symposiums because we feel it's informative and educational, but go and tell somebody else about it so they'll be able to attend next time, because I'm sure somebody in here knows someone or know of someone whose child has been bullied. So now that you know that you have information, you have organizations who will address the situation for you. That's solely up to the council.
No, I'll definitely give you at least a month in advance notice. I'll put it on my webpage, I'll throw it to Facebook, and I'll make a couple phone calls. But we'll definitely give you at least a month in advance. Okay?
All right, thank you very much. Have some coffee, some fruit. I know was provided by Councilwoman Perkins Augusti, so enjoy. Thanks.